We have to change from doubter to believer. Now.
After the immense success of the 70s and 80s, where they won 11 league titles and 4 European Cups, Liverpool seemed to be stuck in a loop of optimism and subsequent disappointment. They never seemed to have a good enough team to win the major trophies, and when they somehow, with a mix of world-class talent and mediocre players, were competing at a high level, they always seemed to be stumbling at the last hurdle.
It's a fact. I am not playing mind games, I am talking about facts.
Barring, of course, a few special moments. This underachieving had been going on for decades and was highlighted by their missing Premier League trophy. That was until Jürgen Klopp arrived.
Boom. Ooh, what was this?
Jürgen changed everything with his heavy metal football. He was instantly loved by the fans and changed the entire culture of the club. And with him at the helm, they started to win again. In his first 6 seasons at the club, Liverpool won a League Cup, an FA Cup, the Club World Cup, a Champions League and that illustrious Premier League title, ending a 30-year league title drought. The last of these 6 seasons, Liverpool were arguably at their best, being a late Gundogan winner and a Champions League final loss away from winning the quadruple. The season after, Klopp's 7th season, never really kicked off. Many fans struggled to understand how a team that had, the year before, come so close to winning all 4 major trophies, now was struggling to get into the Champions League. Many tried to make sense of it. They are missing Sadio Mane, injuries have made him struggle, Van Dijk has lost it, or Klopp has lost it. But after a while, it became obvious that the reason for Liverpool's downfall was the lack of creativity and pressing intensity in the midfield. At the start of Klopp's reign, Liverpool was known as a chaotic team that would concede and score a lot. This changed in 2018-19 when they also became rock solid defensively. This was also the case in the near quadruple winning 21-22 season. Klopp had in part moved away from the chaotic heavy metal football and adopted a more controlled possession-based style of play. This worked very well until the 22-23 season when, as we've touched on earlier, the midfield quality became considerably worse and they struggled to provide chances for the attack. This coincided with a fall in defensive performances, in part due to the midfield running less and being worse at pressing the opponent. The defensive problem is especially highlighted if we compare the 21-22 season with 22-23, where the expected goals conceded had risen from a mere 33.8 to 50.9, a total difference of 17.1. They could have gotten away with this if the midfield had managed to provide for the front 3, but they in large part failed to do this, and as a result of this, Liverpool became a team that conceded a lot of goals and didn't score enough goals. The offensive stat that I think highlights the midfield troubles the most is the regression in progressive carries. In 21-22, Liverpool had on average 23.3 progressive carries per game, the second highest in the league. In 22-23, this number had fallen to 19, the 5th best in the league. In the same period, the team's progressive passes had fallen from 59 to 52 per 90. We in large part saw a midfield that struggled to progress the ball, both by passing and not having the dribbling capabilities to carry the ball upfield, often resulting in sideways passing and leaving much of it, if not all, the creative burden on the fullbacks. Late in the season, Klopp shifted Trent into an inverted fullback role, which got him into more dangerous positions, where he was able to use his ball-carrying abilities and his world-class passing more. This resulted in a very strong finish to the otherwise disappointing season. Although Liverpool managed to gain some form in the latter stages of the season, they only managed to qualify for the Europa League, narrowly finishing behind Newcastle. In other words, the season was a massive disappointment. A revamp of the midfield was duly needed. So when it became clear that Jude Bellingham was going to leave Borussia Dortmund, he became an obvious target for Liverpool. The 2003-born midfielder had earlier said that his idol was Gerrard and seemed to be on very good terms with both Jordan Henderson and Alexander-Arnold. So when the news broke that he was joining Real Madrid, the disappointment among the Liverpool faithful was massive. Even though McAllister was brought in early in the window, there still was a feeling that Liverpool needed to buy more players. Liverpool were quiet in the market after that, until they suddenly sold Henderson and Fabinho to Al Ettifaq and Etihad respectively. Liverpool now needed at least 3 new signings in midfield. They got in Szoboszlai right after the sale of Fabinho, and then spent the next 4 weeks trying to get Romeo Lavia for a few million cheaper than his asking price. Clearly trying to drag out the time in case a better opportunity would arise in the market. And a better opportunity arose on August 11th, when they got a bid of £110 million accepted by Brighton for Moises Caicedo. This sparked a saga that we've not seen anything like before, ending in both Romeo Lavia and Moises Caicedo signing for Chelsea. Liverpool were left with their pants pulled down and with no obvious target opted to sign a relatively unknown 30-year-old Wataru Endo from Stuttgart. After that, their window seemed to be over, until they suddenly signed Gravenberch from Bayern on deadline day. There were doubts over the quality of their new players, with McAllister being the only Premier League proven player out of the 4 new signings. Many also wondered how they would line up. If Endo was seen as a nailed-on starter or more as a backup to McAllister in a deeper role out of the midfield 3. On top of that, some were very critical of Szoboszlai playing as a midfielder, with him having usually played as a winger at RB Leipzig. Now, let's look at how Liverpool have changed this season. While they've still looked suspect defensively at times, they seem to have gained a new edge attacking-wise. Dominik Szoboszlai has in particular impressed by bringing a new dimension compared to the grey sideways passing midfielders Liverpool had in the past. This season, Liverpool have on average 21 progressive carries per 90 compared to last season's 19. And that is despite having played a total of 170 minutes with 10 men or less on the pitch in the Premier League. Additionally, we can see that Szoboszlai has brought back what a Jürgen Klopp midfielder used to be, a pressing monster. The new creative midfielders in Szoboszlai and McAllister are also getting the best out of Núñez, with him finally being able to be the in-behind striker he is instead of having to drop deep to create. Not to mention the new addition Gravenberch, who, after a few stellar performances in the Europa League, got rewarded with a start in the derby against Everton, in which he really impressed. An interesting tactical approach that Klopp has used so far in the season is that Liverpool seem to be wearing out their opponents and in the last 30 minutes switched to a 4-2-4 and used their creative power in midfield with McAllister and Szoboszlai to create loads for the front 4 and killing off the game. The front 4 crowds the box, hoping to create one-touch passing opportunities and combinations. Klopp and Liverpool are able to do this due to their superior bench options and fitness levels. It would have been interesting to see if Klopp would have used this tactic against a top team like Spurs, but we didn't get to see that as they went down to 10 and later on 9 men. Moving away from the tactical side, it seems that bringing in some new and fresh faces has had an uplifting effect on the whole squad. The harmony of the squad, at least from the outside, seems much better and the players seem to be enjoying themselves way more this season. Yes, I want to put things right, and that gives me the extra edge as well. If I'm 100% honest, the fever, the power, the excitement is bigger when last year was not great. I'd really love to be that team, Klopp said, where everybody thinks, oh god, Liverpool. The fans are also part of this, with the general feeling around the club being really good and the connection between the players, the manager and the fans being at an all-time high. This was highlighted by both the fans and the players' reaction after their controversial defeat to Spurs. If the good feeling and revised tactics and approach will be enough to challenge for the title is hard to say, but Jürgen Klopp is certainly turning the Liverpool fans into believers once again.